Is there a concern that in a time of trade hostility, China could come in and basically, you know, broker more friendly trade deals with other countries, and America could lose its global position?
Yeah, I think that is a risk. The question is, what does that deal look like? Look, my personal opinion is that I think that it's basically there are two main superpowers for the next 100 years, us and China. And I think we, on the margins, have a more compelling deal to do than China does. And the reason is because we have these 330 million Americans who are absolute kingmakers. And I think you have to take advantage of that. The Chinese are incredibly strong. They're incredibly bright. But they have headwinds too, man. You know, like nothing's perfect. Like their population is cratering. That population is going to halve in the next like 50 years. So China has to figure out some very complicated things for itself. So it's not like China has like some perfect deal that it can offer the world. So there's give and takes on both sides. But yeah, they're going to try to do it. And they're going to try to do the best job of getting countries convinced. That's why we have to have some amount of bargaining chips, right? Like if you show up to Europe and you're like, let's do a deal. Is a better deal done when Europe feels like you're serious? Or if Europe feels like, well, I mean, you know, they've paid our way for the last 50 years.
Yeah, why would they stop? Yeah.
So you have to like, you know, it's almost like it's tough, but like you have to have some reasonable expectations here that, you know, that there's like a decorum. So I think that it comes down to the quality of these deals. To your point, like what is the actual deal? And I think the thing to remember is there is no country in the world that can buy stuff the way Americans buy shit.
Right.
I'm serious. I mean, like truly.
It's like a lot of people can make shit, but you need an economy that is going to consume, and you can't really grow that overnight.
You can't. It's true. We have had, you know, a lot of practice in making money as a country, but also spending
money.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should forget that.
To piggyback on Mark's though, the way that Trump is implementing these tariffs across the board, are there any guardrails that can prevent China from just going to everybody and be like, okay, they're applying at least a 10% tariff on you. I'll either give you 5% or free trade.
Okay, it's a really good question. So now you go to the tactics of it. Whoever it is, let's say it's us or it's China. And let's just say that we're going to pitch Europe on why, you know, you should go one way or the other. At the end of the day, when you're doing deals like this, you have to show a P&L, right? A profit and loss statement. Meaning, once all the fancy words are done and all the, you know, cameras go out of the room, this gets to the brass tacks of a spreadsheet that says, here's how much money you will make by working with us. And this is where there is a very clever deal, I think, for Trump to get done, which is the following, which is to essentially say that there is sort of like this new global trading alliance. And, you know, according to a set of rules in joining the club, pay your proportional share, right? Pay your membership dues on time. And there's a way that you can have access to this incredible market. That would be, so when you do that P&L, right? And you get a bunch of Western countries that align with that, because you have to remember on an economic basis, look, we're 8 billion people in the world, we're all equal, but economically there is a hierarchy, okay? And so it's America at the top, then, you know, you have the G8 countries, G7 countries, the rest of them, right? And then it goes down there and you can just rank this. And so the more of these countries you have in this new alliance, the companies that work through that lens will just make more money.
Like a trading NATO, so to speak.
I think that's a really good way of thinking about it. It's like exactly like in the modern, like, look, like for the next 100 years, do we really think the solution for protection is like a tank? You know what I mean? Like, like a tank is like 70 years old. It's like 100. It's like it just doesn't make sense. The real protection is what you said, which is like economic cooperation.
Yeah, aligned interests.
Aligned interests,
but
and a bunch of drones. You know what I mean? Like that's it.
Do you feel like the tariffs actually address the root problem of bringing jobs, like specifically middle class jobs that have been lost to China, like shoe manufacturing, back to the United States, or is it mostly a political tool to get these rates to be more, have more parity?
I think step one is the rates, and step two is what kind of jobs come back to the United States, I think is still unclear. But there are a lot of really good trade type jobs. I'll give you an example. And in the United States, from 2017 to like 2022, a quarter of all of the people that work for power utilities is eligible to retire. Take their full pension. Why do you think that happens? What do you think has happened since 2022? I'll tell you. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Power lines, transformers. There's more wildfires because of utilities. The average experience of these folks have gone down. The amount of brownouts and outages have gone up. Those are jobs that can pay $80, $90, $100, $120, $130,000 a year. These are good jobs. There's just no people to do them. I'll give you a different example. We are trying to build nuclear submarines. We need 100,000 people to build those submarines. All kinds of stuff, electronics to, metalwork to whatever. They can barely find 1,000. And there's like all kinds of stuff. So your question is the right one, which is what kind of jobs will come back? Or what kind of industries could we have that we don't have enough of? And this is where, look, now you're starting to talk about like a lot of complicated social policy as well, because part of why we don't have people is like a bunch of us were tricked to like go to university, get $200K in debt to take a degree in art history, which was stupid. Mm-hmm. Instead, you should have just gone to a trade school and made $150K a year and had a good life. But then in order to have a good life, you needed to live in a reasonable city that had like not stupid housing policy. Right. So like there's a cascade of all of these issues. So it's probably a little too early to say that exact job that's in China is going to be here, but we don't need that job.